Okay, good evening, everybody. So, I don't know, this video is going to be a difficult video to make again. Tara is joining us. There was an article that appeared, and I suspect that this will be kind of more of the fallout of people getting somewhere in this. The article was published in the Globe and Mail. I've left the contact information down below. I think we need to try to, continue to take the higher road through all this. But we'll go through the article, and it's obviously, I came across it and was reading it, and it deeply disturbed Tara. And so, everybody can judge what they know of Tara, what they heard and saw of Tara, and what Mr. Mercer has portrayed. And that's the way journalism works. But we don't have to go down paths that other people go down. So, how are you doing, Tara?
I'm trying to be okay. It was a good day until I got home. I got to meet a lot of really nice people. People that I've interacted with for like a year now. So that was really good. And we had a really good turnout. It was cold and people came. They stayed and they came early and they stayed. It was really good. It was really nice to see everybody. There was a lot of hugging and a lot of prayers and a lot of really, really good people. Really good people. People I'm really proud to know. I wish I had met them at a barbecue instead, but a lot of people that I just couldn't, I can't imagine being without in my life now. Oh my God, I look like shit. I didn't realize what I look like. But it was a good turnout. I saw a lot of people, and it was really nice because you feel like the good comments and people send. We have a good group. We have a really good group of people who just hold on to each other and support each other. And you could feel that today. You could feel that. I hugged so many people. Probably get some COVID tickets in the mail. But no, it was good. It was really nice to see so many people. And the RCMP set up a loudspeaker and a microphone so that if we wanted to say something, we could. And that was really nice. Tom Taggart and I can't remember that lady's name with the blonde hair. They stood up and read from notes that were written by a family member who just I don't want to say that person's name because I don't know if it's okay or not, but their writing, wow, amazing. I don't know, you've heard that expression, the pen is mightier than the sword, and when this person writes, people listen. It's really good. It was really, really good.
And, that's so true. I mean, what a segue into this. I do hope that people will share this video around because I hope that the message rings loud and clear. You can't traumatize families. This is really, really wrong. Really wrong. And I know Tara's really, really upset. You okay if I read the article through?
I'm gonna get a coffee.
Okay. I'm glad you have. Tara's got new cats, so bringing comfort. Hello to Nikki, Ashley, Caper, everybody that was out there today. Glenn B, Nikki, hello. Jill, wonderful. Oh dear, KL, truth and all. Sharon's in here. Awesome. So good to see all friends, eh? We have a good community, and our community isn't based on nasty hurting people. That's what we try and do. Just tell truth as best we can. Darlene, Mark, hello. Okay, I'm going to start. Ocean Girl, Snippy Pinky, please share around with your friends, please. This is an important one because we want to get some joys in here. Hello, Joy. Great to see you today in the video. I so wish I was down there. Beth's in here. OJ Pats for Pats. Okay, so when I'm reading through this article, I want you to put yourself into a family member's shoes and envision what it would be like to live in the state of, fear that Tara's had to go through, that all the families, as have Nova Scotians, have had to go through, but specifically, family members. It's obviously hits a lot harder, and to say certain things is probably very insensitive, and borderline negligent legally.
Oh, sorry, kitty.
Kitty, okay?
Oh yeah. In my house, they get used to getting stepped on and moving around out of my way.
I'm just going to post, the link in Twitter. Hopefully it gets around here. Twitter. Hopefully it. My apologies for the echo there momentarily. Maybe if Steve's around, we can get him in on this. And I want to hear everybody's thoughts on all this. Okay, so let's go through the article. Okay.
Hey, everyone.
All right. You're going to be okay, Tara. We're all here with you.
Thanks. I'm not normally this much of a sissy, but I'm really tired and I just wanted to go to bed.
I know.
And he was the nicest one. Remember, I told you he was so nice, and I opened up to him, and after I talked to him, I was like, wow, he really got me talking, and I felt really comfortable talking to him.
Sometimes it's the people
so
that
stupid.
are okay. It's okay. You're not stupid. No. Sometimes it's the people that come softly that seem friends, and they're maybe they're not so much. He's a journalist.
Do you mind though if I say hang on just a second? There's a lady, Chelsea Gould, and she was so good. And initially I was like, she seemed a little inexperienced, but she was really nice, and she was so good, and she didn't mix around my words, and she was so polite, and she's been nothing but kind to me. And I will talk to her, but I'm not going to talk to anybody else.
Well, I think there's definitely one person in here I know who's dealt with the media a lot, and I know that I spoke to somebody who's helping us all in the background a lot, and the media can be vicious, and that's just the way things are. But we need to stand tall through it all And
Was that a short joke? Like, I'm not already upset enough. You told me to stand tall. I thought you were my friend.
sorry?
You just told me to stand tall. I thought you were my friend, and now you're making short jokes. Fucking
Oh, God loves your humor, eh?
fucking rude.
Well, I got to tease you a little bit. That wasn't even intentional. Okay, so let's read through this article together. Now, I have, funnily enough, in this article, where is my props? Where's my prop? Here we go.
I can never figure how to get this camera so that I don't look like I'm looking off into space.
I've used the Sharpie, and I'm not a big Sharpie person, as everybody knows. I like people to say whatever they have to say, no matter if it's good, bad, whatever. But there's lines you don't cross, and a line was crossed here.
Ashley's my new favorite. Ashley said I'm 10 feet tall.
This is all part of the psychological warfare. This is all part of this. But the Sharpie has to come out in this one. And this is what I hope that people communicate so that this article gets altered. I don't want the article necessarily being shared in its current way, because it's got information in there that should not be in there. A year after Nova Scotia mass shooting, a community is left to comfort its grief and lingering questions. Greg Mercer wrote this article. Again, I have left the contact information below. I think it's good to write a strong, if you feel so, and letter or phone call or tweet Globe and Mail and ask them, please, what are you doing? This is not appropriate behavior. I'm not saying anybody needs to act, and we don't want that, because funnily enough, I could see this happening and turning out that way, that they'll be like pointing fingers and saying, oh, look, somebody out there says something which shouldn't be said, and then they say,
Sorry.
those crazies over there. No, it's not. We're strong, we're tall, and we take higher roads. Lots of great comments, love coming in here from all over the place, Tara. So just know you're not alone. None of the families are alone.
And you know what? If you had been there today, just saying, you would see that the crowd that was there, everybody was talking and hugging and interacting, and it felt like, I hope everyone else felt like that, but I felt like it achieved what we wanted, which was, I think everybody connected with somebody in that group today that they felt like, if you were standing next to someone, you might just lean on them when you're feeling like, Shirley leaned on me and I leaned on her, and then Kendall was holding my hand at one point, and it was like, as soon as anybody saw somebody else that they thought needed a hug or something, everybody got that, and it was so good. It was so good, and I can't believe I didn't friggin' live stream it. And I do have a selfie stick, what I was hoping to use for that, but of course I forgot. But it was the energy and the crowd and the people and the kids. We had older folks who had trouble walking, and they were just there anyway, and it was so good. On the way there, you know how I feel about coffee. I love her. She's my favorite. And so on the way there, right, I had my SUV, so I didn't have a lot of room in it because I had my dog and 2 boxes with sweaters in it. So I picked up these 2 the boxes, you get of coffee from McDonald's. and and I didn't have room for them on the back of my car because everybody was there. So these people I didn't even know, but I knew they were there for the march. They had a truck and they were right there. So we had like a tailgate party there with coffee, and somebody brought cookies. And then there was this couple of little cute girls that would come around and, do you want a coffee? And it was so good. Like it felt like we should have had a barbecue there. Had we not been here for such a shitty reason, we could have had a barbecue and everybody, I think, would have felt included. I will say this, I was a little disappointed because I hope it's okay that I say this. I heard afterward that Leon showed up, but that he was kind of on his own, and I didn't see him. I've never met him, but I heard that he was there. He was kind of by himself. A couple people tried to like include him and said, hey, you're not walking alone today. Because that was the thing. Nobody out there today should have been walking alone. And then I think he left, which was unfortunate because you should never feel in a crowd like we were that you don't have a place there, because you do.
Yeah, everybody has a place. Everybody has a place, and
everybody who feels like they wanted to be there should be there. That's how it is. Yeah, he was there. I hope he stayed. I don't know him, so I didn't meet him, and I didn't know till afterward that he was gone.
I heard he was there and stayed, but I don't know. A bunch of people walked with him, but I'm hopeful to get videos of everything, because I still haven't gotten any full videos of what happened. And I know you spoke, what I saw, you spoke so eloquently, and that's the thing, that's the person I know. That's the love I know. I mean, I know that you have an emotional side too, but not like what this article portrays. And I know that.
No. The thing about me is that I'm all mouth. I'm 5 foot fuck all of nothing, and I am all mouth. But
I think
I get
sentences were misconstrued and written.
Oh, I can't even believe the way that he put those sentences together. They didn't go together. They did not. Yeah, I was so upset. I can't. He should actually change his title to quote journalist / creative writer.
That's an interesting way of putting it. That's good.
Because yeah, he took a lot of liberties with that little report.
Okay, so I'm hoping that it won't trigger you too much. I know I think I damaged a phone when we were talking. I threw one in the other room by accident.
Oh,
I just meant to toss it on the couch. No, it was accidental, actually. I meant to toss it on the couch, and I think it dinged off of a table. But anyway, okay, so let's get to the article. A year after Nova Scotia mass shooting, a community is left to comfort its grief and lingering questions. Now, I have archived this article. I please encourage everybody to archive every single thing that they come across. Archive.org, archive.is. Please do it. This is very important. Tara Long locks her doors now. There's not a lot of crime in Sharpie. Okay? That's because Mr. Mercer chose to dox where she lives. A quiet rural hamlet tucked into the pine trees of blank. But that does little to ease her mind. In the past year, she's installed a security fence around her house, surrounded herself with 2 large dogs, and started keeping a gun nearby. Her anxiety does not allow her to relax. When she was surprised in her own home recently When her daughter came up behind her, she broke down and started crying. Quote, if I hear any noises around the house at night, I'm freaking out. I'm walking around with a baseball bat, said Ms. Long, a plain-speaking maritimer who often tucks her long brown hair under a baseball cap. I'm so anxious I can hardly breathe. Now, I'm going to stop there and maybe we can just talk about what's written there. Tara, why don't you share with us what your thoughts are?
Well, I've been training dogs since I was about 3, and I've had Rottweilers and Pit Bulls for about 25 years. So that didn't happen because of that. I do have a big gate, and I'm glad I have it because I don't want people in my yard. I don't have a gun. If you knew me, like I can fall down this. I can fall up the stairs. So if I had a gun, the headline would read, "Girl shoots herself in the foot." It's like, and I know this. Anybody who knows me, the thought of me with a gun, it's like dangerous to my own health because I'm clumsy at the best of times.
So
I can't believe he wrote in there, like, where I live, a gun nearby. Like, I don't know. I have a neighbor that's like 5K from here. If they have a gun, that might be considered nearby, but I don't think they do. They're old. I don't have a gun. Somebody told me the other day that I should get a BB gun for the rats in my barn. I don't know. I don't know if I could hit a rat with a BB gun, but I got a cat for the rats. But yeah, I'm not. I couldn't believe it. Security. I don't have a security fence. I have 2 big dogs who, well, my pit bull is the cutest thing ever, but he's dumb as a stump and he chases cars. So
I remember when you built the fence this summer.
Right? You remember. I had to because my neighbor hit him with the car and cracked his jaw and cracked his skull. You remember. With that said, I love my fence. Don't get me wrong. I really like knowing that nobody can pull into my driveway without my knowing about it. But I didn't build that because of this situation.
And you've already been through so much in this to be doxxed.
Fuck. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Like, you telling somebody where I live? My family was murdered by somebody we don't even know who they are.
In the chat already posted something, and I had to redact or retract a comment, and I don't delete comments. I don't want anybody spreading that around. That's the point. Is this needs to be removed immediately?
What did it say?
Somebody posted their thoughts on where you might live, so I removed that comment.
Can you not do that, people? Like, are you fucking kidding me? I don't know who you think you are, but I don't want people at my house. I don't want people to know where I live. Are you kidding me? These fucking asswipes showed up in the middle of the night and killed my family. Do you think I want fucking strangers knowing where I fucking well live? What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Okay. All right, take a breath. We're here. We're here with you. God's here with you. We're going to get through this, okay? Okay. And people, I'm sure already are writing messages to Mr. Mercer, and I do encourage people to write positive messages, as in, but strong. We will not tolerate that. You do not treat a family member this way. So, I mean, this is all inappropriate. Where did he interview you in person?
No, on the phone.
So
But
how
he
does he
asked
know? Sorry?
well, he interviewed me on the phone, and then I got an email message a couple days later asking if he could send a photographer to my house, and I didn't respond because obviously I'm not bringing somebody to my house. But no, it was on the phone, and I might have said like the general area that I live in, which is, South Shore kind of area, and I might have been a little more specific. And everybody knows that I live in the woods because they did videos out of my yard and I live in the woods. They're the fucking reason I live in the woods because I don't want people to know where I am.
So yes, again, the contact information is down below. It was Mr. Mercer that wrote this article. And again, this second part here construes almost that you have discussion of your daughter and then that you're carting around a baseball bat all the time, which is
Right? Oh my God. That makes me sound like I'm a fucking lunatic out here hanging onto a fucking baseball bat.
which is completely inappropriate. And I know how much you love your daughter, and why is he even mentioning that?
Why is he mentioning that I have any kids? Why are you bringing that into me? Like, how would you feel if somebody wrote a fucking national article about you and your family? Right?
This is running all across the country.
Yeah. Does this person have children? Should we maybe point out where he lives? Should we be doxing this person? No, we shouldn't be.
Yeah, exactly. That's the difference.
No.
We won't be like that. We won't be like that.
It would be different if he was a little fucker like 20 years old and didn't have kids or a family or any of that shit. You're a fucking grown-ass man who has a family. You don't put somebody else's personal shit out. How would you fucking feel? How about you're away? What if you were on vacation or you died and now your wife is doxxed with nobody at home?
I'm curious as to figure out how he knows where you live.
That's what I'm curious too. Because like I told you, I mean, I do tell people in a general way where I live, but he wasn't here, so I don't know.
Yeah, the interview was conducted on the phone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Says Ms. Long. Ms. Long is living with debilitating trauma that crept into her life a year ago. Her brother, Aaron Tuck, was one of 22 people, including a pregnant mother. So now it's down to 21.
He was the first one. He promised. He said, because they all asked me, what do you want out of everything? What's the main thing? And I said, well, all these other things. But I said, if we get nothing out of it, I want everyone to say 23. And he said, I promise. Like he was the most, let me say it this way. He was the best bullshitter out of the three who interviewed me. And what's that girl's name who I keep forgetting? And she was so good and so respectful of the things that I said I just sent her a message to thank her because I saw this and I thought, don't you put any consideration into the people that you're writing about and what we've already gone through? Put in there that I have a fucking kid. Somebody already murdered my fucking 17-year-old niece. Do you think they're going to have any problems with my kid or me? Fucking dox me. Oh my God. I can't tell you. I'm wound. I'm just wild.
Okay, take a breath. You're doing so well. And I'm real proud of you. Like, pride isn't a word that I can use because I'm not in a place to judge, right? And I'm not in a place that, thank goodness, Wow, just unbelievable. But this kind of stuff can't be tolerated. This is what we call re-traumatizing people, and you don't do it to people. We don't do it. We would never show, his family where tell them people
Thank
where
you
he
guys so
lived.
much. I'm reading the comments and I really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much.
Please share it around, please. We got, there was a couple of good journalists, but this is the thing,
There was.
I'm reading through the articles, and we'll go there another time. This article is really important just for this article alone because of what was written here. But let's continue here. Thanks, Blue. Hopefully, the word gets out and we can get this removed immediately, and an apology. An apology should be demanded from him. Hardcore, because this is beyond inappropriate. 22 people, including a pregnant mother, killed in a shooting rampage 18th and 19th, 2020 across rural Nova Scotia by a man dressed as an RCMP officer. The man who murdered Mr. Tuck, his teenage daughter Emily Tuck, and his partner Jolene Oliver was their neighbor Gabriel Wortman, a 51-year-old denturist. In all, he killed 13 people who lived near his cottage in Portapique, setting fires to the homes in a rage that woke the community from its sleep. As police closed in, he escaped in a look-alike RCMP cruiser and continued to kill people in their homes and cars in a 13-hour attack. It didn't end until he was shot dead by two officers in a gas station north of Halifax. And again, this calls for a lot of conclusion of fact without any proof yet. Hardcore.
That's the creative writing aspect of his title.
Yeah. This is so purposeful, this article, and deliberate, very hurtful to you.
Yeah.
And this is not the way that you are. Very unprofessional, very inappropriate. We must have this stop. And there's a reason that they're doing this, and that's because you're floating over the mark. You're floating over the mark, right?
We are floating over the mark. There's a whole lot of us, and that's why they need to get their reporters to report this way. It's the only way they're going to get their nonsense out, because there's so many of us.
That's right. And the numbers showed it today. The numbers showed it.
However, they did. That was the most beautiful turnout. I'm telling you, I was so happy to see all of these people. It was so good. The energy that was there, it was so good.
As Nova Scotians mark the grim anniversary of Canada's worst mass shooting, many are troubled by the lack of answers. Some evidence has trickled out in a slow drip of police warrant documents released through the media-led court effort. They haven't released those warrants, by and large. We had a little bit right at the beginning. Many of these regurgitated warrants, though, have not been released, and that's simply the truth. Interesting how the media has chosen to do that. But the RCMP's case against the gunman and public inquiry into the police response are still a long way from revealing key details at the heart of the case. The public inquiry isn't mandated to find its report report its findings or make recommendations to prevent similar tragedies until November 2022. Hopefully, it'll all just go under the rug. Among the details that process is expected to examine is why officials failed to use the province's emergency alert system at any point during the attack. A year later, we are still left with more questions. We're left with more questions, Ms. Long said. Nova Scotians paused Sunday in a moment.
Oh, God. I didn't see that picture.
Now, exactly. This picture does not represent the Tara that I know, the Tara that people saw, the Tara that people have heard for a long time, and what Mr. Mercer has written. It's completely. Obviously, the man has not listened, paid attention to anything, and has sensitivity really borderline. And I would say it's almost libelous legally. Nova Scotians
Yeah.
paused Monday in a moment of silence as memorial signs, banners, and messages of remembrance appeared in the province. Ms. Long is among those who organized, among those group,
Yep.
the
Yep.
family that
That's
we
right.
all built here,
We all did this.
who organized a march from a grocery store parking lot in Truro to a nearby RCMP detachment where they laid roses in honor of the victims.
They can't even recognize Foodland for letting us go there. Like, why? Why?
Yep, there's
I was
Leon.
so good at Foodland. They were awesome.
Leon's there in the
Oh, is
back.
that Leon in the back there? Okay.
Yep. Yep. And I think it's a beautiful picture. It says
No,
so much.
there's so many better. Like, I mean, when we all met in that parking lot, everyone was hugging everybody, and everybody was so. It was a group. It was united, and it didn't matter who was where. We could see everyone from everywhere, and you could feel that we were all together. And he could have had a much better picture that would have shown that, because everybody who was there, I think, would know that, as shitty as this is, that there was a lot of love there today. And he could have taken a picture to show that.
There are some more pictures throughout the article, but
Oh, is there? Sorry.
I think this is a very poignant article. Steve is here. Are you wanting to join, Steve? If you are, let me know in the comments. Sorry, I'm just talking and rambling and not highlighting people's comments. I appreciate it. There's lots of people's comments coming in here. Beautiful comments. Charlene
These
Bagley.
people are beautiful. The people in this group, Seamus, I wish you could have met these people, because you've never seen a bigger group of kind-hearted, caring people who just genuinely were so supportive of me. I don't have the words. It was so good. It was so good. And these people, the support, I couldn't be here.
Oh, there's comments open on the Facebook article. Excellent. Maybe somebody wants to throw the link. I'm sorry. I actually looked on Facebook and I don't go through people's Facebook stuff really unless there's something there that's interesting. But I did go from Mr. Mercer's page momentarily, and I thought of linking his Facebook page, and then I'm like, no, that's totally exactly what we're speaking against, right? Efforts to get answers have taken multiple forms. Many family members of victims have joined two proposed class action lawsuits, one against the gunman's estate, the other and another against the provincial government and the RCMP. Their lawyers are still waiting to learn if their claim against the police and the province for failing to protect the safety and security of the public will be granted class action status. This is still sitting in waiting to be certified. Ms. Long is not part of these lawsuits. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not trying to petition to get that. And hopefully, some people, some lawyers out there, or somebody with goodwill wants to step forward and help that happen, because your voice is really powerful and should be included amongst all of them, right? But it's just the legal technicalities of things. The lawsuits have put families at odds with the killer's longtime girlfriend, Lisa Banfield. Interesting. Somebody pointed out that they always never use a certain word in here, but I'm not going to get into that. Who is also being sued after she was charged in December with supplying ammunition used in the massacre. Two other people, Ms. Banfield's brother, James Banfield, and brother-in-law, Brian Brewster, have also been charged with the same crime. Mr. Banfield has pled not guilty, while Ms. Banfield and Mr. Brewster have yet to enter a plea. Since she was charged, Ms. Banfield, who is also suing the gunman's estate. So if the families are suing the gunman's estate and Ms. Banfield is suing the gunman's estate, who is Mr. Wortman, by the way, that would be that Ms. Banfield is essentially trying to sue the families. And that always needs to be remembered here. Has become a decisive figure or a divisive figure amongst those who affected by the shooting. She's been caught up in a complicated knot of conspiracy theories spread by amateur web sleuths who are convinced that the police aren't telling the whole story about her involvement. Much of the speculation focuses on the RCMP and the government, but many are also suspicious of Ms. Banfield in the public. So it's not just wild, crazy people, you know. We don't see her as a victim, Ms. Long said. I don't understand why the police are protecting her. Completely valid statement. Here we go with a good picture, you see. Others see things differently, pointing to the gunman's history of domestic abuse and troubling descriptions of his violence in Ms. Mansfield's own statements. Okay? So this is where we're getting all our information. Ms. Banfield, the person who's
and
on
I believe her. I think she's like a totally upstanding citizen who was really forthcoming and oh no, wait. No, that wasn't her. I must have been thinking of someone else. Look at that crowd. Look at those beautiful people.
They see the charges against her as victim blaming and a deflection of the killer's horrific crimes. Let the courts decide it. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I miss my mommy. We deserve answers and the truth.
Baby.
Well.
No shit.
And look at the line. Just a shame.
I know. Yep. Yep. There was even, can you scroll back down a little? There was a lady in the blue shirt back there, and she didn't have one of our shirts, and her friends made their own. It was awesome.
Wow.
Yep. No, it was awesome.
Nikki had masks even with 23 on them. Did you see those?
Oh, I didn't see them.
Yeah. Somewhere maybe I have a link here. He's painting a picture to deflect. Yeah, absolutely. This 100% is a PSYOP article and a hit piece on you and people who ask questions. But the one that disturbs me the most is you. I'm really worried about, that's just, yeah. History of violence. In her statement of claim against the estate filed with the Nova Scotia Supreme Court, Ms. Banfield says she was a victim of assault and battery and suffered physical and emotional and psychological injuries and trauma. Let that be decided in court. Just like his case should be decided in the inquiry. We can't come to find
that to me sounds like conspiracy theory.
In a series of interviews with the police, partly released through the legal challenge by the Globe and Mail and other media outlets, Ms. Banfield explained she had been afraid of her partner for 19 years, yet she buys ammunition for him. So does her family. Interesting. He was controlling. Well, I can't say that she bought it, but somebody did, and somehow it went through. But she should be charged with illegal possession, I would think. He was controlling and prone to violent outbursts, choking her on occasions. She said, she on trial. Mr. Workman, who also seemed obsessed with guns and spoke about killing police, would humiliate her in front of people in the Dartmouth denturist office where they worked. She said. She told investigators she kept her nieces away from him. I don't know if I recall seeing that. Oh, I've seen something to that effect. Anyway, he was always about hurting her family, so she was afraid to leave him, reads one's passage. It's the little things that would set him off, not the big things. Who said that? Would it be somebody
Yeah,
in her family? Would it be somebody in her family? The night that he began his rampage, the couple was celebrating their anniversary in their home in Portapique. On a FaceTime call with friends, they said that they were planning a commitment ceremony for their 20th anniversary. One friend joked, "Don't do it." Joked. "We don't know what this is about." This all is statement calls for conclusion with no evidence to back it up. And that set Mr. Wortman off. Ms. Banfield told police he dragged her by the hair across the floor, kicking her and tying her hands together with a belt from a bathrobe.
She wasn't sure it was a bathrobe.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is beautiful flowers. Wow. Yeah. Thank you to somebody special in here for getting that organized. Everybody came together and wrote this.
Everybody did.
So well.
Yeah.
All these beautiful names written on here. And of course, Heidi Stevenson. You know, nobody's saying she's not a victim in any of this.
Heidi Stevenson? Yeah, she's a victim. For sure she is.
And I have some thoughts about that. Roses with the names of the victims of the mass shooting are prepared to be handed out to family and friends. There's symbology behind the red rose also, you know, and that's why red roses were suggested, because the red rose is what they give at depot. They lay them at the cenotaph when they graduate to honor fallen RCMP members. So, you know, they understand the meaning of what a red rose is. As he began pouring gasoline around the cottage, she said he grabbed his Glock. Everything is she said.
Yeah.
He grabbed his Glock, she who's on trial. He grabbed his Glock handgun with a laser sight, Ms. Banfield told police. He shot near her head twice, and Ms. Banfield told investigators she believed she was going to die. Instead, he put handcuffs on her and put her in the back seat of the fake police car. Well, it was a singular handcuff to the best of my recollection. She told police she escaped and ran into the woods, eventually hiding in a trunk of a tree, and didn't come out until morning.
You know, those tree trunks are my favorite thing. We go camping, we take our whole family, and we just camp out in the trunk of a tree. That's a Nova Scotia thing. You find them everywhere. Trunks of trees you can totally hang out in.
In yoga
Said
suits.
No one ever.
In very
yoga
dress.
Actually, before I go camping, I actually go right to Lululemon and I get a new pair of yoga pants, and then I take my shoes off. Obviously,
take your shoes off. Yeah. But somehow
I got to do my makeup though, right?
But you know, that's conspiracy. It's only written in the warrants. If you want to use the warrants, use the warrants. There is a blue jacket that suddenly flowed into the story, but quote, "We need to stop blaming the victim And I think that's what's happened with Lisa. Charging her has only put fuel on the fire of blaming women and blaming Lisa for her partner's atrocities, said Jean Sarson, co-founder of advocacy group Nova Scotia Feminists Fighting Femicide. This is interesting. That's a new group. I don't think I'm aware of this group.
FFF?
NSFFF. I'm not familiar with this group. I don't think I've come across it actually. I found that obviously not non-state torture, Jean Sarson, but maybe that's something we'll look at in the future. Because she's a woman, I think it makes it easier to blame her. This mass shooting must sink into our heads. The idea that the relational violence is really a societal issue. Has that been proven?
You know what? It's everybody's fault that Gabriel lost his shit at Lisa. And you know what? Poor Lisa. Could we all just like donate some money to Lisa and give her a big fat hug? We don't need an explanation or anything. We just want to hug the girl and make sure she's okay.
I would like if she came forward and spoke with you or spoke with other family members.
Right? Then maybe we wouldn't have to speculate on what the hell her story is if she'd actually open up her face hole and tell us.
Apparently she doesn't feel like doing that.
Probably makes her uncomfortable. I hate that.
Others see Ms. Banfield in a more negative light as someone who did not alert the police enough to alert police to her common law partner's bizarre paranoid behavior, his many threats of assault against her, according to her, and his growing collection of guns and ammunition. She has yet to enter a plea on the charges of unlawfully transferring 223 caliber Remington cartridges and 40 caliber Smith & Wesson cartridges to the gunman in the month before his attack. That is not true. It actually occurred in April, right prior to this. It was 1 month of transferring ammunition. The RCMP, I think right before, maybe somebody in the chat can help me with that. What was the last date? The RCMP have said repeatedly she had no prior knowledge of his plans, but clearly had prior knowledge of his behavior. Mr. Wortman was, sorry?
You know, the last time I bought ammunition for somebody, they were making necklaces out of it. So there's just no reason for her to have thought that he was going to use, she was afraid of him. He had lots of guns and he was abusive. So the next logical step would be to go and get him some ammunition so he could make jewelry.
It was the day before. I didn't want to be wrong, but that's what I thought. So, I mean, listen, right there is a huge red flag. You're transferring ammunition the day before for 1 month. That family was. Mr. Wortman was well known to be manipulative and was obsessively deceptive in using others to help him gather materials used for his attack. According to who? Add in the element of domestic violence, and it's not hard to understand how coercion can have played a role in a case like this, Ms. Sarson said. Again, I would love to see the evidence. Let's see the evidence, and then we can decide for ourselves. Ms. Banfield, but I certainly don't want to listen to somebody who's on trial trying to save their own skin and their family's skin. Ms. Banfield's silence, however, has only fueled the questions. Quote, we don't know the story. Fair. So in the absence of information, we're dealing with an extraordinary amount of speculation, said Sandra McCulloch, lawyer for Patterson Law in Halifax, who is leading the lawsuit by the families, victims' families against the killer's estate worth an estimated $2.1 million. It's actually worth more than that, but the quote, the public is coming to its own conclusions, and the only thing that's going to help fix that is finding out what really happened. Until that would be an interesting discussion, would it not? Gene
Wouldn't
talking.
it?
Perhaps they already are. I'm not sure. Until that time, but I'm not sure. We can't help but speculate and have concerns about the information that's coming out. So then we have the timeline, which again is established by, it's kind of a, we could read through that. On April 18th, while celebrating their anniversary, the gunman assaults his common-law wife, who escapes. 10:26 officers are called to help a man who was shot driving in Portapique. Not the first 911 call. RCMP arrived to find homes on fire and bodies at more than 7 locations.
They did.
Police learned that the gunman is carrying multiple firearms, wearing a replica RCMP uniform, and driving a lookalike police vehicle. That's much later in the story about the multiple firearms. Anyway, Wentworth, Glenholm de Bert. The next morning, the gunman travels more than 60 kilometers and kills 3 more people and burns their homes. He kills a woman walking, then bangs on the door of another couple's home. He drives to De Bert, where he pulls over 2 women and kills them. This is really scant on details. This is about as much detail as the RCMP give. People banging on doors, no times, no anything. RCMP Constable Chad Morrison is wounded in a firefight with the gunman, who then collides with Constable Heidi Stevenson and fatally shoots her. The gunman then kills a nearby passerby who stops to help and sets cars on fire, which, again, this is a bit interesting. Anyway, sets 2 cars on fire and proceeds to a nearby house of a woman he knows. No names. He kills her and removes. But you see, no names again. We've got Constable Chad Morrison and we've got Constable Heidi Stevenson, but no names of families. This is very important. RCMP only. He kills her, removes the replica uniform, which wasn't a replica. That was 100% a real, authentic RCMP uniform. Authentic. Multiple times documented that his uniforms were authentic, not fake. So please, that's a misnomer. I would put that in there as a correction. The gunman continues south towards Halifax and stops to Irving Big Stop in Enfield. He's recognized and shot dead by an RCMP officer who also stopped for gas. Miracle.
It's fucking laughable. It's laughable. Isn't it?
Well, they said miracle and coincidence. But there were 2 other gas stations they stopped at right up the road.
Well, and is it a coincidence that all those other officers just showed up at the same place at that same exact time? Wow. Like, talk about a fucking miracle.
Miracles on miracles. So, I'm glad Kitty is bringing you solace and you've got laugh in your voice again. Looking for answers. In the absence of answers, some people are trying to find them on their own. Like families. Funny that. A loosely knit group.
How dare they?
Sorry?
How dare we look for answers?
Yes.
Bastards.
Those bad people, don't want answers.
Sleuths. We're sleuths.
Yes, a loosely knit group of web sleuths, Facebook users, and YouTube personalities have spurned sometimes wild speculation about the case, the RCMP investigation, and government's response to the killings. They're digging into Ms. Banfield's past, trying to find red flags they say others don't want to see. I don't think there's a lot of digging you can do into Ms. Banfield because she's really been scrubbed out of existence.
Yeah, she's gone.
Yeah. And we have the picture of the roses, which is beautiful. I find it interesting how they've removed his face from this picture. I wonder the look on his face. I heard from somebody today who said that will be with him forever in his life.
Ooh.
Mr. Gill. Corporal
Oh.
Troy Gill holds roses with names of victims after family members handed over the flowers to the RCMP detachment. Just looking for answers. That's all. Including
Yeah.
Heidi's.
That's right. She was as much her poor family. Oh my God. The same as us. She's in the same boat as we are. Except that she went in there to do a job, and she went in there with a good heart and good intentions to do the job that she shouldn't have been there. That wasn't her job. That I know of. I will
Everybody's
never.
looking for answers for everybody in the story.
That's right. We all want to know. It's not like I want to know what happened to my family and who cares about everybody else. I want to know what happened to everybody. And I want to know why, like, Lillian doesn't get any acknowledgement, and I don't understand the baby. And we all feel that way. We all, like, we get offended on other people's behalf. You know, I've heard from people who've read the article about Aaron's dilapidated house, which was not really the truth, actually. But people I don't even know who were offended on my behalf. And, you know, I've heard stories and things said to people, and I'm like, I'm offended by that. It's not even my family member. It's fucking insulting to our intelligence for them to think that we're going to buy this crap.
I remember reading that, and I phoned you, and I was like, why are they talking about dilapidated?
Yeah.
It's not a necessary
dilapidated.
But you see, it sows a seed with family members and things like, I can write these nasty things about you if you want, you know.
Yeah.
We can
you can do what
really bad, or you can play along with our plan.
That's right.
It's a vicious game they play. It really is.
Yeah.
The continued love and support coming in, of course. Quote, we're doing the job of the police, said Ms. Long, who has appeared as a guest on a YouTube channel hosted by an Alberta man who has produced dozens of videos discussing the case. Quote, the families are working to piece together what happened, and the RCMP are doing a really good job of making sure we're having trouble finding things. They're working hard to cover it up. I find it interesting how he doesn't want to mention me by name. I don't know if that would be turning to a libelous issue legally.
Well,
but I also think very much about don't look there, because maybe those people have some valid points.
Yeah.
You know, it's always like the RCMP do the same thing where they say, you know, journalists said something in a newspaper. But we're not going to name the newspaper. We're not going to name the journalist. When Paul Plango wrote the article about New Brunswick, they came out right away the next day and they said, oh, yes, there was an article written, but don't believe it. Well, you don't want people to look at the article. Very intentional.
The other thing is that I was really clear because I didn't want there to be any confusion about it not being the police that were on the ground that night. I made a very clear point of saying to all the reporters that, you know, the people who had their boots on the ground that night, the firefighters, the EHS, the RCMP, those people are not, as far as I can tell, they were trying to do a job. They go to work every day and they put their lives at risk. They don't know when they leave their house to go to their job. I worked at the bank. Whoop-de fucking ding dong. I'm coming home at the end of my shift. But when your husband or spouse is a police officer or a firefighter, any of these high risk jobs, you don't know when they leave the house. Are they coming home or not?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't know. And so I would never say anything to disrespect those people. The higher people who, I don't know what they're doing, telling these other folks not to do their job. I don't get it. But it confuses my head to think what it must be going on in the officers' minds who are there to do a job and then told they are not allowed to do that job.
Yeah. Spooky. Spooky.
I do too, Cindy.
What is it? It has no bearing. But again, it's a tactic to shut people down.
Yeah.
You know, don't say anything you shouldn't because I'll write something about you nasty. So continue on with the business about people looking for answers. They reject what Ms. Long calls, quote, mainstream narrative. Would that be narrative such as Mr. Mercer's?
Yeah.
Doxing and miswriting things here? About the mass shootings, she and others believe that the gunman didn't act alone and suggest that the RCMP knew about the attacks ahead of time or at the very least allowed him to continue. She's skeptical of Ms. Banfield's accounts of domestic violence. I think some of
Imagine that.
might be. Sorry?
Sorry, go ahead.
No. You're.
Oh, I said imagine that. How can I not be skeptical? We haven't heard anything. You know, if I don't even have an example because I'm so fucking tired, but you hear information third hand from somebody you're not really sure has even talked to this person. How can I not be skeptical?
Paul makes a good point about the growing with numbers. You know,
The what?
The growing with numbers, the growing in numbers.
Oh,
People asking
yeah.
questions, and this movement is really moving forward. And in comparison, I'm going to have to review those articles. The mass amount of media that's been paid to one thing here versus the other. But the interesting thing is how many people signed up for the event, of course, on Facebook, which they said, here's the number versus the quote, you know, what, how many people were there, you think? Truly.
I don't know.
I've heard in the neighborhood of around 400. Does that sound fair?
It sounds fair. I don't know. I don't think I've ever counted a crowd before, but it was a big crowd. It was a lot of people. And it was a lot of people who care. I can't express it enough because everybody who's there, well, I always laugh at Kendall because she and I pretty much disagree on everything that life has to offer. Every politician, every political, everything. We disagree on everything. But I fucking love that girl. And we totally can talk about this kind of stuff. It doesn't matter what people, where we come from, what walk of life, if we're rich or poor, we're tall, we're, tall, super tall like me, or short or whatever. Everybody wants answers. And it's like, this is like a joining, I don't know the right word, but it's like everything else just falls to the side and we focus on this. The rest of it is just chatter. It doesn't matter at all. And we're all coming together to try to find the truth. Nobody gives a shit about anything else. We just care about each other.
Do you know that, sorry to interrupt.
I'm her favorite today. I love it.
I like these kinds of things that have been appearing on our videos recently.
What is that? I saw that too. I don't get it.
Also on, they of course they want to discredit. It looks nasty and dirty, and it appears on O'Dear's channel also. Horrific. They put these
Well,
porn
and I
links
have
and things.
people on my on Facebook who are friend requesting me with all this weird language and weird stuff on it, and I don't even know what that's all about. Oh, this is the porn links that they're sending. Is that what that is?
Yes. Sorry, I removed it.
Why do they fucking do
I'm
that?
not having it. Well, because this is all part of it's all part of the same thing. You know, discredit, make people look nasty, dilapidated houses, porn. Nothing to do with the price of tea in China. What happened on the 18th and 19th, and what happened before? And let's see the proof.
Tess is asking who it was. It's Greg Mercer from the Globe and Mail.
Yeah, this was sorry. I should have just have
No,
like
that's
a
okay.
running
This is
banner
like
on
the
the
first
bottom
time
that
I've been
Greg
able
Mercer.
to keep up with the chat. Mostly it won't let me see the chat in there for some reason. I don't know why. Today I can though, which is good.
Cool. Oh, put it in there. I think I can do that. You have to give me a moment. I'm article by Greg Mercer in the Globe and Mail. Let's see. Scroll across the bottom. There we go. Can I get that to go? There we go. Oh, that helps things out for everybody. Hopefully I spelled that all correctly.
Nice.
Oh,
Oh shit, that's fucking cool, man. I love that.
Maybe I'll edit that here. Hold on a second here. Can I edit it?
Call it the story because it's not really an article. Article's supposed to have facts in it, isn't it?
I'm supposed to dox family members. That's certainly, you've been traumatized enough. You lost half your family that night. And just so many memories of all of your all 23 families that have been just not going to be established. Never will be. And this is all about there we go. Okay. Sorry, we'll just reread that there. Again, they reject Ms. Long's calls remain the mainstream narrative about the mass shootings. What Ms. Long calls the mainstream narrative. That's true. She and others believe that the gunman didn't act alone and suggest that the RCMP knew about the attacks ahead of time, or at the very least allowed him to continue. She's skeptical of Ms. Banfield's account of domestic violence. This is all based on a lack of transparency and honesty coming from certain places and institutions. These skeptics have constructed their own alternative reality of the killings, pushing theories that the gunman or perhaps his girlfriend, were informants for the police or even Canadian Security Intelligence Services. Theories based in part by Mr. Wortman's large withdrawals of cash in the weeks leading up to the attack. You could add fully equipped police car, uniforms, badges, etc. Others believe gun control activists and feminist groups are at play behind the scenes trying to manipulate the facts to advance their agendas. Well, it does certainly. does certainly help. Updates and dingings all the time. The Nova Scotia RCMP's spokesperson, but I'm not saying even that they're complicit. Could just be duped. Lots of, people get duped into things. Nova Scotia RCMP spokesperson says there's no evidence to support these conspiracy theories. There's no evidence that you're furnishing, period.
That's right.
How about that? Corporal Chris Marshall stresses that the investigators are analyzing and trying to corroborate every tip they get in relation to the shootings to assess the weight, validity, and value of that information. I think that's what happens over here.
That's why we need that weigh scale for all the uniforms and stuff. They're assessing the weight and validity.
I wonder what the time is on that weight scale. Is it off time?
Probably.
On those security cameras that they've got there?
Well, it's a half an hour later in Newfoundland, but it was in PEI, wasn't it? So I'm not really sure.
I don't know. That one was, 50 some odd minutes off, even though it's been established that was correct. Sifting through the many threads of the case is a slow, painstaking process that ensures accountability, clear goals, planning, and decision-making throughout the investigation. Wow.
What?
That's just wow.
Yeah, right?
Lack of transparency and Sharpies. No evidence. Any information being withheld from the public is simply to keep from compromising the investigation before it reaches the court, he said. Oh, well, he must be referring to the lawsuit. So that was why. They weren't being transparent before the lawsuit. So what was the excuse then? Quote, the goal is always telling the truth of what has occurred. There's no room for speculation in these investigations. That's how things.
I think he's writing a comedy script. That's what this is satire.
You don't speculate. You don't have any speculation of what people say. You just buy it at face value. That's what you do.
Yeah.
That's how good investigation is done. You just buy the right answer the first time, every time, right?
The first time, every time. Yeah.
Quote, the RCMP have been committed to keeping the victim's family as well as the public informed with the truth of what has occurred. I loved how Tammy said that so well yesterday. Nobody's been informed.
She is really well spoken.
Since July 4th, they've had no real contact with them. Horrific. And I know for sure,
really well spoken. Oh, good point, Kendall. Yeah, they did speculate that Wortman was dead.
Oh, they did tons of speculating. Did he act by himself? That's the way that investigation is done. The table is
but
open.
There's no room for that here.
Yeah. He said, in doing so, the RCMP have been required to balance the need to maintain the integrity of what's the ongoing investigation, while at the same time providing information and as much possible correcting misinformation for the families and the public and the media. They don't really say anything.
Yeah.
The wide range.
We don't get any information.
I don't know. Sometimes I think there is some misinformation coming out from them, but that's tinfoil, so we'll avoid that.
You're a conspiracy theorist. What's that word? Is sleuth?
No, sleuthing is bad. Perhaps a form letter we can all blast off to Mr. M's office. Yeah. I think, again, it's walking the higher road. right? We walk the higher road. We don't need to get in their pit of slime. The wide range of theories about the shooting serves to further blur the reality about what happened in Portapique a year ago. And some worry about the longer it takes to get the truth, the worse it will get. Well, perhaps the theories come because there is no information forthcoming.
Right? If we had something to go on, we wouldn't have to fucking speculate.
Evidence, not words, evidence, which they're probably just manufacturing and destroying.
Do we have a problem with femicide in our country? Like, actually, I was walking by McDonald's today and they pulled all the women out of all of their cars and just beat them with rocks because they were women. Do we all do that here? It said femicide. It sounds like it's a big group of females fighting femicide.
I mean, again,
I'm afraid.
I have to be careful. I can't really weigh in on this one, but I think there's a lot. Let's put it this way. I feel that there is a lot. There obviously is an issue with violence against women, and that's just because guys are bigger than women, and some guys are assholes and do things that they really shouldn't be.
Too. And I know a lot of men. I know a lot of men who have been fucking punched hard by girls. I probably shouldn't tell this story, but I know a lot of men who've been punched hard by girls, and I had to actually stand up for my other brother when we were kids because he was getting pounded on by a girl and he wouldn't hit her back. She almost broke his back. Women want to be treated equal. Then you fucking hit a guy, you better just duck, because if you want to be treated equal, it's not all good.
I've been in a relationship.
Do you want your man to treat you like a fucking man? I don't.
So, some women do get pretty feisty. I had a girlfriend once who did a few things that. Yeah. But what can you do?
Well, and that's the problem, right? Women think that because they're women, they can hit men, and this is the problem that I have. I don't know. See, to me, men and women are different, and I want a guy who opens the door for me. I want a guy who sees me carrying something heavy and says, "No, that's not right. You don't do that because you're a girl. I want to be treated like that. I don't want." Let's just get a fucking along. And if you can do something that makes life easier for me, do it. If I can make life easier for you, I'll do that. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense.
Dear's videos are great. Oops.
I love her videos. Yep.
There was some mention of something. I didn't see that. Sorry, I have to take that off the screen because there's mention of somebody else in there. But Dear's videos are awesome. And I don't have the description in the link below, but amazing videos that she's got. So please, somebody can throw out her channel. She can throw out her channel. That would be great, please, because go and check them out. And those numbers are all lies, just like the numbers that they said are coming to the Bible Hill March. And what turned up was, in fact, probably 3-4 times as many as was indicated. So, it's just like on these videos or on other videos. It's just, they're not true. You can't believe everything that you see. The sooner that we can get the inquiry going, the better, trying to break the cycle of conspiracy that's going on out there and finally getting some truth. I agree with Linda McDonald on this. Linda McDonald, co-founder of Nova Scotia Feminists Fighting Femicide. Quote, we've been better off to have the truth out there from the very beginning.
I thought that was a different name of the group. Am I wrong?
Yes, it's NST is Linda and Jean's group. Non-state torture. But I think they must have formed a new group. But
There must be a lot of women just getting tortured and fucking femicided around here to necessitate all these groups.
Well, this is part of making everybody, and there, that's why I have to be careful. But every group is made to feel to be all people. All people are made to feel to be victims. This business of almost speaking of empowerment, you're already starting off at the bottom, is what they're telling you, and you got to get your way out. Well, how about you're probably not too badly off, and there's some problems that got to be fixed, but we're all strong. I don't feel
That's
like
right.
a victim.
I don't feel like a victim, and I certainly do not want to be treated like one.
I certainly know you're not.
No.
No, not a good idea. And you
No,
got friends. You got friends.
I have some amazing friends. Oh my gosh. I'm so blessed. It's not even funny.
Quote, we've been better off I think the more that we wait, something's missing here, the more distortions there are, and the harder that it's going to be for people to get to believe the truth when it comes. Oh, so she's already come to a conclusion. The harder that people to get them to believe the truth. So she knows the truth when it comes.
Oh.
That's interesting.
That's a weird statement. Do you have the truth, or hasn't it come yet?
Well, the harder it's going
or are
to
they
get
writing?
to believe.
It sounds like they're writing the truth right now. They're writing the truth so that when they're ready to give it to us, we'll believe it.
Yeah. I blame the RCMP for that. I agree with what Linda McDonald is saying wholeheartedly. This should have come from the beginning.
Yeah.
Ms. McDonald says she's also been targeted by those drawing connections where there aren't any. Someone called her home recently, which is horrific, and accused her of being on the RCMP payroll, despite the public criticism of how RCMP mishandled previous complaints about domestic violence by the gunman. Now, that is absolutely just like doxing you, doxing anybody. And this, by the way, you can't do that.
No.
Nobody should phone Ms. McDonald. Nobody should be doxing other people. I try my best not to. But just there's truth, and truth needs to be said. You can say things to Ms. McDonald in a respectful way in a public forum because she's a public figure. Quote, this conspiracy stuff, it's like a mold. It grows. It's so tragic.
I didn't know mold. Oh, mold like a fungus. I get it.
I would say, Kendall, that's probably not too far off.
Bang fucking on as far as I could guess.
Ms. Sarson, the group's other co-founder, so I guess they've got two groups, says those who are skeptical of Ms. Banfield's statements about the past violence at the hands of her partners should really be asking questions about why RCMP didn't move to intervene when police reports were filed in the years leading up to the attack. Well, let's see the paperwork. Let's see the hospital records. Let's hear from friends. Let's hear from ex-girlfriends. Let's hear from... Yeah, I think there's loads of evidence that should be there. Not hearing much. Not seeing a lot. So I think we should probably get to the bottom of that one for somebody who's on trial right now and could be potentially charged and sued. All these people sued because of furnishing ammunition to somebody who committed murder, mass murder. I think she has motive. They all have motive. She believes that promoting conspiracy theories about the killings are in the minority, but they flock together online to create an echo chamber. Don't know if she's referring to any group of people, particularly, perhaps. Quote, they just feed off each other, she said. It satisfies their they want to believe is correct. Well, you group together with other people. Is that your
Right?
conspiracy theorist? That every man is out to get women? I don't think that's true.
It sounds like it. If these two women find female feminicide to be such a problem that they have to form two groups,
I
I
wonder
don't
where
know.
they're getting
I've
their
never had
funding.
any problems with that. I've never been femicided. Has anybody in here been femicided or known anyone? Like, are you fucking kidding me? In this age,
Kendall's point is so important there. You intertwine stories together.
yes.
You know?
And I didn't see that.
This psychological warfare garbage going on again.
Mhm.
Very dirty game they play. Dirty, dirty. The provincial and federal governments only fanned the flames of conspiracy when they initially chose to hold a closed-door independent review of the case instead of an open public inquiry, she added. That further convinced people that there was an effort to cover up some facts about the shootings. Well, they wouldn't have to tell the truth. You couldn't be subpoenaed, so you didn't have to show up, and they could issue a report choosing what they wanted to. So that seems like somebody's trying to hide something. Not give you and other families answers. To defend herself, Ms. Banfield hired James Locklear. Now, who paid for Mr. Locklear? Putting it out there, just who paid for Mr. Locklear? Might be an interesting one to find out. A high-profile Toronto lawyer, most associated with wrongful conviction cases. You might find something there if we get that, including that of Guy Paul Moran, who was falsely accused of killing his 9-year-old neighbor, Christine Jessup, 1984. Well, I think he could use a more current case like Glen Sue. That's pretty current. It's pretty takes place down there, but they have the killing of a girl, femicide, once again. Mr. Locklear said he couldn't discuss Ms. Banfield's case until the charges are dealt with. He said Ms. Banfield's silence has been forced on her by the criminal charges she is facing. Well, she wasn't facing criminal charges before.
That's right. What happened?
Did she ever speak to any family member? I would love to know in the comments below. Or if you don't feel like leaving it there, please contact me. To the best of my knowledge, every family member I know has never heard a word from her. Quote, that's not really her fault. They went and charged her, he said.
It's not her fault she got charged for being a criminal? I feel like it might be.
Her silence isn't her fault because they went and charged her.
Bastards.
But they didn't do that until December. But she was silent until then. She's been silent all along. Mrs. McCullough, the Halifax lawyer, acknowledged that much remains unknown about Ms. Banfield. It's not a lot of the digging when they referred earlier to the digging into Ms. Banfield. You can't do a ton of digging into Ms. Banfield because there's not a lot to dig. I like to dig around in other areas and just destroy what they say. She said that she's sensitive to stories about the gunman's past violence towards a common law wife, but that doesn't mean Ms. Banfield shouldn't need to answer for the allegedly supplying him with ammunition used in an attack. I believe Ms. McCullough, who is a lawyer, would also equally say the same thing that I'm saying. Until that's proven in a court of law, it's just her word. That's it. And she, funnily enough, her word is diminished in the court's eyes because she's currently on trial, trying to save her own skin and her own bank accounts, numerous. Because the family's going to be turning around suing her pretty soon. And people supplying ammunition, if that's proven to be true. Quote, that history doesn't necessarily absolve anyone of their actions, she said, but we don't know what we don't know. While we need to be open to the reality what she's been living in, we also need to be open to the reality, and that's true. Nobody's saying for sure it didn't happen. The evidence doesn't seem to support it. But you need to be open to the fact that possibly she was assaulted and living in an abusive relationship. But again, it's not supported by any evidence. She may be living in, we also need to be mindful. We don't know the full story. Lots of great comments coming out here. I wish I could say them all. Point them out, please, Tara, if I miss them, because I can only read.
They're all really good comments.
Ms. Banfield has fought to keep certain key statements from police hidden from public view as part of Mr. Locklear's arguments for protecting her right to a fair trial. How many judges has been involved with her case? I'm not sure. While some point out, oh no, look at what I've done here. Oh no. I have to fast forward. There's the mold. While some point out that's a normal course of action for anyone facing criminal charges, others see it as proof that she has something to hide. Ms. McCullough says it's hard to understand the need for secrecy when Ms. Banfield is facing a trial by judge and not a jury. That's a good point. You can't really taint the jury pool. I raise an eyebrow over some of the arguments for her wishing to have stuff withheld, she said. Quote, I try not to buy into the argument that it must mean that she had something to hide. But in the absence of greater clarity, it's hard not to have that suspicion. So she's tentatively supporting that there is some validity in it. Ms. Long, back to you. Meanwhile, still struggling to make sense of the killings that appear senseless. The only tension she knows of between her brother and the neighbor involved a dispute over a proposed real estate deal. Mr. Tuck wanted to sell his... Oh, what is that again here? Oh, here we go again. Sound familiar? A dilapidated home.
The dilapidated home by the sea, I actually think that's the heading they use to sell the house. People are clamoring over it.
Hello, Nancy.
Hey, Nancy.
Inherited from his adoptive father and moved his family back to Cape Breton. Mr. Wortman offered him $18,000 for the property, and the stay-at-home dad was offended by the lowball offer. Okay, here we go.
Now, what's interesting about that is that I didn't know about that. Like, I had heard, but I didn't know that that was the case. So, like, when he's writing it in there, you can see that he's not quoting me because I didn't know that. I didn't know that Aaron was offended. I didn't really know. I had heard, but I didn't get that from Aaron, so I didn't know.
Well, that's coming from the warrants. And from a statement.
Okay.
One person's statement warrants.
The fighting that night, I don't know what the fight was over. I
Okay.
just thought it was because they were drinking and they were just being stupid.
Do you want to read this part here? Because I think, and give us your take on it. I'm going to just step out of the room for a minute, but I want to hear your thoughts, because I think this has become, now they're trying to throw divisive lines into certain things here, but please.
Okay. Aaron said, if you want to fight me over it, I'll fight you, but you have to hit me first and then I'm going to kick your ass. So Gabriel sat down, she said. Aaron was so proud of that. Everything he did was to try to be a good example for his kid. Her brother could be blunt and didn't back down from a fight, Miss Long said. But he was also a devoted, loving father, the kind of person who would feed chipmunks by hand and rush to the aid of a bird stuck in a wood stove, she recalled. He taught his daughter how to fix engines, refurbish fiddles, and shoot a bow and arrow.
Oh, my apologies. Now, this I find, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't know. I don't see it like as detailed as a lot of you guys see it because I'm the middle of it. It just, I don't know. It strikes me as weird and I can't put my finger on why.
I find it disturbing because I find this, I don't know, and sadly the audio that you're missing the audio on this interview, but I find it interesting that I think these are two sentences from two different things put together. If you want to fight me, because let's see how it reads.
Yeah,
Aaron said, if you want to fight me over it, I'll fight you over it. But if you have to hit me first, then I'm going to kick your ass. So Gabriel just sat down. There's a comma here. Now, I don't know if you said this all in one sentence.
yeah. Okay.
Because then I think they piece it together with this next quotation. Aaron was so proud of that. Everything he did was trying to set a good example for his kid. I don't think he would say that he was trying to teach his child, Emily, how to fight, kick people's ass.
No, he taught her the opposite of that. Well, she knew how to fight, but he didn't want that. That wasn't what he was trying to teach her.
Because she wasn't there. She was probably asleep at the time, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I find it interesting that these, I think it's two sentences stuck together. Two separate thoughts.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, they don't go together. I don't recall. That's why I tried to record the interview, but for some reason, the audio is not there, and it's probably my fault. But I don't remember interviews. I don't remember when I say what I talk about. That's why I listen to them later. Because in the moment, I don't know. I just kind of answer the questions. I won't be doing that.
You're a firm believer in people standing up for themselves, but it makes it sound, yeah, I think there's something funny going on there. I'd like to hear the full audio and see, because I don't think that was the way it was. And this, of course, could drive wedges places, right? And that's not healthy. And I know, some people know what I'm referring to, and that's not good. Her brother could be blunt and didn't back down, Ms. Long said, but he was also a devoted, loving father. Or is it just me that I'm seeing that?
I'm not seeing it. I don't pick that kind of stuff up.
Yeah.
No, Linda's saying I sound like a bully.
Yeah. It sounds like he's trying to teach that to Emily. And I don't think that that's at all what you would say. And to paint
No,
that
not
is
at all.
very malicious.
Yeah.
He could be blunt, not back down from a fight, Ms. Long said. And again, these aren't direct quotes, but he was also a devoted, loving father. So you got it right away in the same paragraph. Fighting father, you know,
Right.
the kind of
Okay.
person
Yeah.
who would feed chipmunks by hand and rush to the aids of a bird stuck in the wood stove. Oh yeah, those are great videos, eh? She
Yeah.
recalled. He taught his daughter how to fix engines, refurbish fiddles, shoot a bow and arrow. On the morning of Sunday, April 19th, 2020, Ms. Long was concerned about news reports coming from Portapique and called RCMP to do a wellness check on her brother and her family and his family. Her family, yeah, all of it. It was the next day before it was confirmed they were among the victims. Of course,
No, not for me.
Sorry,
I was 2 days later being confirmed.
2 days. Well, good.
Yeah, by the MD's office. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with being a good father. You can't put those thoughts together. It's you know, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Was the next day before it was confirmed that the victim, a year later, locked inside her own home and jumping at noises in the night. She still hasn't recovered from the shock. Now, you know, you have been heavily emotionally affected by this. Obviously, who wouldn't be?
Yeah. But I'm not jumping at noises in my house.
You know, I know you've had some stories of things that you have every reason to be more fearful. Everybody does. People in Nova Scotia were. Leather even said that on the press conference about the tweets. You know, everybody was on edge. Everybody is on edge, but on edge in terms of, can this happen to me because my police force hasn't protected me? Quote, I wasn't there. It ruined my life and my family's gone, she said. Ms. Long said she's found support in other areas, others in the area who have lost somebody in the shootings. They've been brought together by tragedy, sharing their grief, anger, and hope for more transparency. On Sunday, she planned to stand with many of them during the Memorial March in Truro. So she planned to stand.
Yeah.
When was this written? When
Yeah.
was this written? I'd like to know. We want answers. I think it's a lot of copy paste over days. We want answers and we're not going away till we get them. And then, of course, we get a video. And what is the video of?
The memorial walk.
And who did the memorial walk?
Not me. Not us. Not our group.
Yeah.
22 people.
The group behind the walk says it'll be a peaceful way to honor each individual that is also safe from COVID.
So he's using my name to promote something that we didn't even take part in.
Kendall says, Tara, we are going to write an amazing press release for you to fix this. I hope probably by the end of this video here, which we're now at the end, you're gonna promote the emotional state, which this is part of that psychological thing to me. This is all a very psychological thing. There's two separate issues at play here. There's emotional, and there's the seeking answers and justice. Certain people want, to honor both justice and the emotion, and certain people only want people to stay in the emotional stew of grief and trauma and say, look, we can run around and get past this. No, that's not going to give anybody any answers. I don't think, but you're the one who comments on that. Yes.
Yes, the students at ECE, they call it, I forget what it's called. Oh my gosh, why can't I not think of what it's called? Education Center. I can't remember. It's gone from my
Okay.
head right now.
CEC.
The CEC,
Cool.
the Colquitt Education Center, I think, is what it's called. And thanks, Kendall. Fuck, what would I do without that girl? Don't want to know. I don't want to know. They did a fucking awesome job. They should have definitely. That should have been. I didn't know they were doing that, but wow, did they ever do a good job? Holy mother of pearl! You should see some of these paintings and stuff that they did. It's unreal.
But who were family members painting these rocks?
No, it was done. I think by I don't know what grades, but some of the students at the CEC, the arts. It was their art project, I believe, if I'm correct. And wow, these people have skills, and I mean, they volunteered to do this, and they did a beautiful job. Absolutely beautiful job, and also those roses that you saw were donated to us from Superstore. And that was so good. And the food, everybody was so helpful. People brought food, stores donated the roses, their parking lot. We had people honking when we drove by. Like, the support was really good. And we definitely need to recognize those students for painting those rocks. They did such a great job.
Right. But the point, sorry, I was trying to make is that the rocks, it should be widely known that whilst being extraordinarily beautiful, right? And they are.
Yeah.
These weren't painted by the families, and that is the image that has been portrayed. I don't know if other families did participate in painting them. I noticed that there was a teacher that was interviewed that's part of that group. I'm wondering if that same teacher is the one who is an art teacher. But how much family support really was going on, and we're going to get into that in the coming days, is the different articles, which is why I really want people to archive every single copy of every article. Keep doing it over and over, because they're going to keep updating them, so that we can get equal play for the demand for justice as there is for the emotional side, which is both are fair, but you have to have both, right? And how many family members are asking for answers versus ones that are involved on that other project, which I think is very carefully set up. And I think all you need to do is look at when was the virtual vigil started. People weren't even at their homes at that point. They were displaced from their homes because of what took place down there. And then following that, and the organization and how it was all done, and that virtual vigil was done on the very day that the RCMP press conference was. And the website is the dead giveaway. The website is the dead giveaway. Every single thing is redacted. If you look at that website, if we pull it up, unbelievable.
All your contact information gone.
Even like TELUS, who would be, TELUS or something like that. Let's see here. if you do a search, right? There's the website. And you search it. Everything. First of all, let's look when it was set up. Creation date, April 20th. People weren't even in their homes, that group of people. Yet somehow they got 2 websites set up, because this is one of 2, right? But then let's look at all this. Really?
Come on.
Who like the Billings tech companies? That's like the host services. Tell us, redacted for privacy? Who set this website up? Who set it up?
Is that the thing that says who is this .fury
Sorry?
that I just saw up there? If you scroll up, it says who is .ca.fury.
I'm not sure what that is.
Mm-mm.
But I mean, if you put in another website, give me a random website. Give me something. Who?
Ford.com.
No. Did you
Ford.
say Ford?
Who said anything?
I thought you said porn.
Oh, no.
Ford. All right, let's see. Let's try Ford.com. Let's see if they have any information on there at all. Or if everything's redacted for privacy.
Look at that.
They've got all their information here.
Yep.
Right? The names of the servers, the domain status, everything is in here, right?
Yep.
Give me another website. Somebody in the chat. Let's try it. Let's just try a couple, and I think you can see what I'm talking about. You don't redact everything. Balls.
No.
I wonder if Jenga has a website. Jenga.com.
There you go.
I don't think they do, but somebody's probably owns something. Sobeys, sure.
Okay, buddy.
Sobeys, Microsoft.com. Okay.
Okay, I got you. You knock it off.
Let's just see if anything in here says redacted for privacy.
It's okay, buddy. I got you. Eva, sit.
I don't know why Microsoft.com isn't coming up. Let's try Sobeys. Is it .ca or .com?
CA, probably.
Bell Alliance. See?
Yeah,
That's the way our normal website reads. Addresses, names, reporting
Humboldt.
addresses.
Question,
Sorry?
Kendall. Kendall put there for the Humboldt ones if they redacted all their stuff. Because that would be comparable, wouldn't it?
What did they have a Humboldt website?
I think so. They had fundraisers or donation stuff.
What would you look for? Broncos. Tribute Center. Oh.
Yeah, right? I was just seeing that.
It's interesting. Timing.
Look at the one right below it, too. April 6, 2020.
The website will launch. Okay. They've brought Humboldt and some other things into this. Interestingly enough. Where was that article? I can't remember. The site will feature. Go away. Whatever. When is it? When is the website? The website will launch 2 p.m. Monday. So the website should be there.
Yeah.
What is the website? Anybody have anything there?
Eva, you gotta stop.
Oh, that's a newspaper.
Oh, they have a tribute center too. Look at that.
Well, they interviewed about why Humboldt and you must, because there's going to become a tourist destination. I'm like, this is not a tourist thing. Like, people feel pain throughout this. I don't think it's a touristy, and if people have tourist things, then they've got an issue.
Yeah.
Any other websites somebody wants me to check? Stream just stopped on me briefly twice. Oh, nice. What did I miss? Toilet bowl swirling for a bit. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Toilet bowl. I don't know what's going on with the toilet bowl. I don't know. You can just input anything in here, and it doesn't add up. To have everything redacted. I don't know.
The Trudeau Foundation. That's funny.
Oh, what is CSIS's website? Let's try that. Actually, let's try CSE. It's going to be a .gc.ca. You can trace these things. Okay. Ooh.
What?
Interesting.
It is.
They have their own domain, eh? Did you notice that? CSE.cc. Wow. That's interesting. They're not their .gc address. See? That's the way they work. Let's try one more. I have one more. Waiting. Oh!
Oh, look at that. They're right. It is a bad gateway.
Whew. There has been an error. Not found. Ooh, so CSE and RCMP aren't on there. Very interesting, eh? Or people, so there's multiple people having problems. Oh, that's at least 3 of them. 3 people now have said that they've had problems with the stream. Wow. Funny that. Anyway, I really do hope that maybe we can see if there's been some correction on that, because they like to correct the articles all the time, you know. Let's see if they did actually correct that. But it would be great if people could assist with archiving articles. If you put in Tara Long, Bible Hill, or Bible Hill March, or whatever, then that's how you're going to get some hits, and these articles all need to be archived. Let's see here. Updated 2 hours ago. Oh, okay. So I'm used up my freebies on that one. So let's see. We'll try a different one here. Oh, no, they haven't updated it. Still says where you live.
Yeah.
That's just unbelievable. I do hope the contact again, let's see if anybody has said anything. There's a Facebook page. Is there for that article? Somebody said no mentions of the family. And how much press was there again?
Lots.
I heard four CBC vans, 3 global, 4 photographers. Does that sound right?
It looked like a lot to me. There was at least 4 microphones in my face at the parking lot at Foodland.
And how many times did you get interviewed?
I had one interview where there was like 4 probably 4 microphones, and then it was from different news outlets, and then one girl after that pulled me over to the side for an interview. I can't remember her name.
www.redacted.com. Did anybody else get interviewed?
I think so, but I'm not sure. I assume so.
Because a lot of these other articles, sadly, are like they'll mention it, but it's buried really deep within, and it's of course prefaced by. I haven't looked at many of these because I saw that one and it really just set me off. But okay, there we go. Global. We lost our family.
See, and where it says that people are never, or whatever it said there, people can't unsee it. That was when I was talking about the first responders.
Wow.
Yeah, and I feel for those people, and that's who I was talking about when I said that.
And other family members. There are the families expressed their dismay with the Mounties' response to the killings and lack of information that she shared with relatives. Quote, we are here in peace because violence is what caused us to lose our families. We want to make sure everyone here is acknowledged, everyone here matters, and that a lot of us lost family, but a lot more of us lost faith in our police force. This is a very different picture. Well, we're not going to go away until we find out what happened to our family. You can't grieve. How can you grieve if you don't know what happened? Family members took turns speaking at the rally, each clutching a red rose represented the victims. At the end of their speeches, they handed the roses to the RCMP officers, and that red rose to the RCMP means something. They know what that means. These things should all be archived too, like the tweets. Wow. Lee Bergerman, I'm not gonna get into too much more because I think the point was that article, and it really needs to be dealt with. And I'm glad that you shared with us, at least 5 camera people. I'm so glad that you shared with us your thoughts, and I know that was really tough.
Thank you, because you talked to me for probably at least a half an hour before this. I don't know what I would do without you as my fucking calming conscience. I really don't, because you listen to me in my worst, the worst example of who I am, and you just are okay with it.
There's nothing wrong with you. It's just being a friend. That's all, right?
Well, you're the best friend anyone could have.
I know you would be there for me too. And I know all the people in here, all the people in the Discord, that's what kind of people we are. We all watch out for one another.
You guys are so helpful. These people, like, it's the weirdest thing to say, because I miss my family and it's so awful. But the people in this group it's the weirdest dynamic, because I can't imagine my life without them. I wouldn't want to, especially now. But I would have never met them were it not for this horrible thing. It's the weirdest thing to try to get in my head, But these are people, real good people that we have in this group.
Yes. You know, a lot of love for them, love for you, you know, just so lucky. And it's not that kind
So
of
lucky.
tainted stuff.
No, exactly. And that's it. The people that I met today, the people in this group, there's no ill will. There's no underhand. It's just genuine wanting to take care of each other. It's a really nice thing to see. You can't explain it. I hope everybody in this group feels that, because that's how I feel about everyone in this group. Like, I'm really glad that we saw that picture of Leon there, because at the end of the walk, when I got back to the food land, somebody had said to me that they saw him, but they didn't think that he had stayed. And so it was nice to see him in that picture, because I wouldn't want him to feel like he was alone in that crowd. Nobody should feel alone in this crowd.
No, not at all. Have to be here for one another. And it's a group thing, right?
Yeah.
We're all there for you, and we love you, and we love all the families. And you're not
And I
alone.
appreciate and love you guys all so much.
And
It's
nothing.
weird to tell people you've never met before that you love them and mean it, but I do. It's really weird. They probably all think I'm a wacko, but that's fine. But that's how I feel.
Thank you, Countryside. I'm not going to highlight your comment, but I appreciate what you said.
We all talk about you behind your back, just so
Well,
you know. We all say that kind of stuff about you behind your back.
please don't mention.
Well, we can't say it to your face because you get mad, so we have to.
Then we're all wacko, says Linda. I like that.
Nice.
Let's
I am
be
happy.
wacko together.
I like it.
Wacko, wacky, and lovey. Does that sound really kind of poofy? Well, anyway, I gotta stay away from the poofy. Takes what getting used to. Yeah, you know, love has been destroyed in this world.
It has been. It's a weird thing to, like, when you find people just being genuinely lovely, you think, what are they up to? You know, but you don't have to feel like that in this group, which is really, really refreshing.
You still got to keep your eye on you know.
You do.
Because clearly,
You do.
Mr. Mercer was friendly to you, but
Well, and that's what pisses me off, is that I don't know. I got to learn how to do that, but I don't want to. I can't imagine just taking what somebody told me. Somebody who you could, like, his conversation with me was very, like, friendly and nice. And I think I even said to you afterward, he was so nice. He was so polite and so nice. And then you just fucking take whatever, you know, that's not okay to do that.
oh, do you?
And don't you feel bad? Like, wouldn't you feel bad if you told me something and I switched it all around and wrote it in a paper? I would feel like ass, because that's how I should feel.
Well, yeah. I mean, I want to give you as much space. I haven't even contacted any of the families at all, other than to talk to you, because I feel, you know, comfortable talking to you and Tammy yesterday. But I just figure, like, this is such a time, right? You know, I want to give everybody their space.
That she phoned. She is so thoughtful. She really is so thoughtful. I think I told you about that mushroom book that Aaron and Emily, last time we were there, they took my kid out to the woods and they were picking mushrooms and showing her which ones were you could eat and how to cook them and stuff. And that was one of there was only like 2 things I wanted from Aaron's place. And that mushroom book was one of them, because we used it the last time I saw him. And she ended up with the book. And then when she found out that I wanted it, she looked through it and was like, wow, this is a really cool book. She's sending me the original book and bought herself a new copy. Isn't like, she's so thoughtful.
Wow.
Right. And that's just like the kind of stuff she just does. She just does it. It's like, it's just natural to her to do that stuff. And she's so good and considerate of, like, if you ask her a question, she'll think about how everybody in that scenario is going to feel. It's something else.
I don't know. God's blessing. Really blessing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. That
I'm
is
glad-
true.
Sorry?
Sorry, but go ahead.
No.
Well, I'm glad that we do have this big wacky group of all these different people with different points of view. And I think it's really cool that we all are, from what I can tell, most of us are really strong believers in Christ, which I think is cool. And even if you're not, you don't have to, I don't think you have to believe in God. You just have to have good morals and be a good, kind person, regardless of what your beliefs are. And we have that here.
Yes, we do. Yeah. And even though I think that this video started with feelings that were hurt and was a negative place, look at where we came to,
Right? Yeah.
It's therapeutic. I can see in your face, I can hear in your voice that, you're in a better place. I certainly feel in a better place,
Right?
Just
Yeah,
getting together with everybody and talking a little bit. So,
yeah.
And
that's the thing we all have to remember too, is like, if you need to talk, reach out to somebody. If we need to do a fucking live stream so you can talk, that's good. We'll do that. Or if you need to call someone or message somebody, do that.
Mm-hmm.
Just do that. Just message me and say, I'm struggling. I need to talk. And sometimes you don't need to talk. Sometimes you need somebody on the other end of the phone to listen while you cry or while you just sit there and don't talk. But sometimes it's just knowing that there's somebody else on the other end of that phone. Just knowing that there's somebody there. That's huge. That is huge.
It is. You're not alone, Tara. Remember that.
None of us is alone. Look at this whole group we have.
We're all watching. Nobody's going to do anything stupid. Too many people watching over families right now.
Yeah.
And I'm glad.
We are. Me too. I'm really glad that we have this group. I'm so glad we have this group. I really think it helps to give people somewhere to go, that they know that they're not alone.
Yeah. Have a big heart. Mean well. Best of men, very dangerous man.
But we can all make the right choice.
Sorry?
We all have choices, right? We can all choose to use what we have to do the good things or not.
Yeah. We need each other, men, women.
Yeah, we do need each other.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, that's what I never understand. This is totally off topic, but somebody was talking about this the other day on Facebook or somewhere, and I thought it's just really weird that we're supposed to pretend that we're all exactly the same. That's a fucking retarded. How am I going to get another perspective from somebody who's different than me if I don't at least acknowledge that they're different, right? I'm a white girl from Canada.
how could I possibly understand the perspective of, like, say, an East Indian man from Saudi Arabia? I don't fucking talk to the guy. How am I going to know that, these different perspectives? We all are different, and we should all be like, you're different from me, which means I can learn from you. If all I can do is be smart enough to acknowledge that we're all different, so we all have different experiences that we can all benefit from if we just acknowledge that we're not all fucking carbon copies of each other.
Yep. That's how we really do benefit, is just from the knowledge that each other brings to the table, and different emotional, cultural and experiences, life experiences, how we're getting through it, right?
Exactly.
Together, and getting the answers that we need for you and the other families, because there's so many.
And for our whole country, there's people who don't even know anyone in Nova Scotia, who I would imagine have lost a lot of fucking faith in our government or in our policing department.
Yes, I could raise something that would be quite. There was a few stories that came out yesterday in respect to something, but I don't want to get into that, because then it gets into issues that can be divisive. But it's interesting how police are really firing up and not necessarily going along with the program either. I think you and I spoke about that earlier. Well, I don't want to say it, because some people are have strong feelings on certain things, and I don't want to. Eyes and ears are important, right? But I mean, there are some people who believe that this has gone too far in some respects, right out there with other issues. And Ontario police came out really strong yesterday and said that we're not going to be stopping people in the middle of the street. We won't be doing that randomly. We're not going to do it. Every police force came out and said it. Toronto, Niagara, just kept tweeting out, no, we're not following Doug Ford's new plan.
Nice.
Which was pretty awesome, because
That is awesome.
Policemen, and women out there that know that this has gone too far now.
Yeah.
It needs to be local.
I agree with that. It does need to be local. Thank you. Oh, Nancy, it was so nice to meet you. So nice to meet everyone.
Hopefully we'll get more family members involved in the discussion. I would really like that. More people that can come forward with the more points of view and understanding that we have, and that kind of stuff. And so that they also equally feel that they have support too, right? Or people like Leon or whatever have sometimes might need a shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do all need that.
Yeah. Oh, you saw the ghost car today pulled over? Yeah. I saw the picture of that. Not good.
That is unreal. They shouldn't be allowed to pull people over. It's one thing if you're driving a ghost car and you're like a detective or something, but you shouldn't be pulling people over.
Today of all days.
Right?
I'm glad there's pictures of it. Anyway, I don't want to keep everybody up super late. It's now 1:00 your guys' time, and you must be super tired. All of you actually must be super tired who were down there and stuff. So God bless you all. God bless you, Tara. God bless all the families.
God bless you and all of you guys and all of your families. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good sleep. Take care.
You too. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. All right.